One of the last devices I'm probably going to talk about is this little, it looks like a simple switch. It's got a couple wires tied onto it. Sometimes they come with an end on it. And in some control panels, this would actually snap into a pre-wired zone, if you will. And what it does is when the cover of the control panel closes, it pushes this down and then lets you know that nobody's in the control panel because it won't go into a troubled state or alarm. But let's just say somebody was to open the control panel. If they open the control panel, this would open, sending a signal to the control panel, and it could be a trouble or an alarm letting you know somebody's messing around with the control panel, likely trying to bypass things so they can get into different areas of the building. So simple little switch, not much to it, little momentary action. And then we have our power supply. Typically, these power supplies for the intrusion systems, they're around 16 volts, give or take a couple of volts. You can see it right here. The primary voltage is 120. Primary voltage means this gets plugged into a plug, and it takes 120 through here. Normally, there's a screw on here that would then, once this is plugged into the outlet, this screw would screw into the outlet face plate hole to keep this thing locked in place so nobody would unplug it by accident. Because if they unplugged it, then it'd be draining. It would have to operate on battery power, and that would drain the battery down. So 120 volt AC, 50 watts, secondary, 16 volts AC, 40 VA. VA stands for watts or power. You'll notice here it says it's a class 2 transformer. Class 2 transformers, you can find out about what class 2 is in Article 725 of the National Electrical Code Book. Basically, this is inherently safe, and there's no overcurrent protection required on this. You'll notice on the bottom here you've got 2 screws. But what happens is when I plug this in, I get 120 that comes into this coil. And through a process that we call a turns ratio based on transformer theory, we're able to take this 120 volt and drop it down to 16 volt through magnetic induction, and we get that 16 volts that comes out of these 2 screws. In lab, I'm going to show you that we're going to be taking a wire, an 18-2 gauge wire. We're going to be tying on the red here and the white here, and that wire is going to go into your control panel, and you'll see a power supply terminal that'll say power, and that 16 volts gets powered up to the terminal strip so that control panel can have that voltage to monitor all the different zones and keep that thing up and running. But it's a pretty simple power supply. There's not much to it.